That's what I want to start with, actually, is your history with the con. Like,
Yeah.
how long you've been coming? What do you remember about the earliest memories of coming here and seeing the scope of everything that happens here?
So this is my 13th San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh my gosh, wow.
I've been here every single year except for the 2 COVID years.
Okay.
It's been a it's been a really wonderful experience. Like, I love coming to the convention. And the first 2 years I was here, it's when I was an intern at Vertigo over at DC Comics. And so it's like DC did not bring me out or anything. I brought myself out. And so that year I got to do, the line for Hall H. And that was the year that they announced the Avengers lineup. So I got to see that live in front of me, which they hadn't announced that they were doing. It was a Captain America panel.
Okay.
And then they secretly revealed the entire Avengers lineup, which was honestly, being a part of that was amazing. I got to do the fan facing side of it, and then I got to sort of slowly rise up the ranks where, 1 year I was in the audience of panels, and then the next year I was in the panels.
That's surreal, isn't it? That part
absolutely.
of the journey. Yeah. How did you pass time in the Hall H line?
Oh, boy. I mean, thankfully I was here with 3 friends, so we just... I think a lot of it was just sort of zoning out and just trying to wait it through. But we were just chatting. We brought books. We got but I think we woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and to get in the line. And then you get into Hall H and then you just sort of wait through to the panel you want to get to. Right. So it was like, hey, that looks like a pretty good movie. And that one doesn't. But it was a really, really fun time.
Can you think of somebody who you've met through the convention who's been a huge inspiration to you that you finally got to meet for the first time?
Oh boy. I mean, there's so many people.
Yeah.
These conventions were really where the names on the pages became real to me.
Yeah.
There were some people that I was emailing with as an intern at Vertigo, and then I had the chance to actually spend time with and have a few drinks with a lot of the legendary Vertigo creators. And this was I remember the first time I met Grant Morrison, and they were it was at weirdly I got dragged along to Jim Lee's birthday party one year, the dregs of the party, not the actual proper thing, but it's someone was heading up and it was hey, come along, and then I got to meet Grant Morrison, and they were just very, very kind, and that's
incredible.
Really, really touching moment.
I interviewed Todd McFarlane for the first time yesterday, and he's casually dropping. He's like, yeah, when I joined Spider-Man. And I was like,
yeah,
you got to slow down a little bit. You're just mentioning when I joined Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that to me was the first time that I recognized an artist. We are here to talk about your Invisible Man. I want to know how the kernels of this story started for you. Where did it begin?
So it actually began here at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
I did 10 years of superhero comics over at DC, but I made the decision that I was going off and I was going to tell my own original stories. I wasn't going to do any licensed book. I was only going to do my own characters. And then the amazing Alex Antone, an editor over at Skybound, who had previously worked at DC, took me out for a drink and he said, we have the Universal Monsters license. It would, I know you're not doing this anymore, but is there anything you would do in the line? And I was like, all right. At first I cursed at him for a little while. And then I had to say, okay, there are 2 books that I would want to do more than anything. Okay. And the first ended up being the first book in the Universal Monsters line, which was Dracula, which I did with, my partner on Department of Truth, Martin Simmons. And then the other one that I was like, you cannot give this away. You cannot let anyone else take this because it is my favorite of the Universal Monster movies, and that was The Invisible Man.
Okay. What makes The Invisible Man a monster? It's easier with something like Dracula or a werewolf of some type. The Invisible Man can be interpreted different ways.
I mean, but the thing that is the most frightening about the character of The Invisible Man and the original Invisible Man, Griffin, Jack Griffin in the movie, is he's an actual psychopath. Most of the monsters in the Universal line are kind of sympathetic creatures. Maybe not Dracula. Dracula's not too sympathetic, but it's like Frankenstein is the most iconic monster.
Yeah.
And you feel for Frankenstein. There you see the humanity in the monster. With Griffin, it's the opposite. He is a deeply monstrous person who has transformed himself into this invisible person, and then he goes on to terrorize the entire country. And it is like he racks up a body count like unlike anyone else in any of the original monster movies. And then the film itself like lays out, is he really, like, is he that level of a monster? Is there a human reason? Is it just the medication that's turning him into this? But what I wanted to explore in the comic was him being able to tap into, like, him becoming the Invisible Man. Okay. And just like I wanted to get to because in the film he starts as the Invisible Man.
Right. So
yeah.
You wanted to get the steps forward into that. What was like being in that headspace for a while?
I mean, it's a dark place, but I write a lot of horror comics, so it was a very, very comfortable place for me. And I knew that I was in I was in good company. I was working with the incredible Danny, who is one of the finest artists working in comics right now, who I'd been wanting to. I'd done a few short stories with Danny back when I was at DC Comics, and we'd been trying to find a larger project for years. And it was last fall that I was just like, I'm working on this take on Invisible Man, and I pitched out the whole take to her, and she was like, I have to do this book.
Yeah.
And it is gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous
I've only seen the covers so far, but they're spectacular. The fact that this series is only 4 issues, you knew that it was going to be this tight 4-issue series?
Oh, yeah. All of the books in the Universal Monsters line have been 4 issues, so it's following the same format that we did over in Dracula, and it's really the same principles behind the book, too. What we were essentially doing was trying to tap into, trying to use the continuity of the original Universal film as, that is the standard. We are not breaking the continuity of those films, which was fun, especially now that I work over in creator-owned comics. I'm able to, I don't get to play with continuity that often, so I liked working with rules, where it was just like, okay, I can't do this scene because there's a scene like that in the movie. So I was studying the movies as I was writing the book. Every issue, I rewatched the movies, and thankfully these movies are only 75 minutes.
So they did lure you back to an IP project for this one, but you were talking about original characters.
Yes.
Do you have some that you would like to talk about that you're busy with?
So recently I launched a series with Image Comics called Exquisite Corpses with the amazing Michael Walsh and a whole roster of incredible talent. We're 3 issues in right now. It's a big horror romp. There are a lot. It's essentially 12 serial killers are dropped into a small town in rural America, and they have to fight to the death. And it's the story of the town realizing what's happening there and trying to survive.
Oh my God, that sounds incredible and pretty deranged. All right, last question for you. Only because with a Batman sequel coming, I heard a lot of people talking about how they would love to see a live-action Court of Owls. Have you ever heard that rumor, and do you ever think about what that might look like?
I mean, my career started working on the Court of Owls characters.
Yeah.
I did the backup stories in the original Snyder and Capullo run during the New 52, and the mythology there is just so rich. But it is one of those things where what Scott and Greg did so masterfully is that it was playing against Batman's expectations of Gotham City, where essentially it's like he for years has thought this is an urban legend and he has written it off, and then he realizes that the conspiracy theory was true, the urban legend was true, and he missed it. It was right under his feet the whole time. So it was the idea that the city could still surprise him. So in my head, I see the Court of Owls as something that would happen later in, it's something that you build to in the background. But at the same time, I would love to see, those ivory masks on screen.
Oh God, yeah, the visual is incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time,
Thank
James.
you.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's good talking with you.
Good talking.